How many ideas do you have swirling around your head right now? Be honest. The business idea, a side hustle, a goal to get in shape, a plan to go back to school, a vision for your next level. And yet, nothing really is moving. Not the way you want it to, at least. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're not capable. It's not that you don't even have time. It's that your focus is divided. You're trying to do everything, so nothing gets your full attention. You start one thing, and then you jump to another. You get excited, and then you get overwhelmed. You make progress, but then you lose momentum. And now you're sitting there thinking, why do I feel busy but not fulfilled? Why am I working but not winning? Listen, most people don't fail because of their lack of ability. They fail because of their lack of focus. And today, we're gonna fix that. In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the power of one. The one shift that you can take you from being scattered to clear, from busy to productive, from ideas to results. My name is Felix Bobo, and I want to welcome you to the Felix Bobo podcast. Listen, I think you're doing too much. I'm doing too much. This is a constant battle that I go through in my business, looking at different things, finding out things that we could cut out, because I realize the importance and the scalability of focusing on one thing. Parents, sometimes we're trying to do it all. We got to take the kids to school, pick them up from school, take them to practice, come home, cook dinner, all these different things. And you say, well, Coach Felix, I don't have time to focus on one. But what happens is that's draining you. It's causing frustration. A lot of us, we don't know how to handle the frustrations in our business, in our family. And so we keep going day after day, week after week, year after year, and we're dealing with the same problems over and over and over again. Today, I want to help us to recenter and help us to focus on that power of one. I found myself in this situation not that long ago. I was busy doing so many things. I had several fires that I had to put out in my business. It was also a day that my family and I, we had plans and we were excited to go and do these things after we picked the kids up from school. But I had some things that I had to take care of prior. I had to get some things going over at my venue space. I had a few calls that I had to make with some school representatives that I was connecting with, and then kind of build some things out for future time. And my brain was going 100 miles an hour. You know those days where you feel like crossing off as many things off your list as you can. I'm going to get done with this. I'm going to get done with this. I'm going to get done with this. And I decided that I was going to kill two birds with one stone. While talking on the phone, and handling a meeting, I was going to do some things with my truck. I have a diesel truck. And if you know anything about diesel truck, they take this dual exhaust fluid. This dual exhaust fluid, it goes in a separate compartment in your trunk that's right next to your gas tank. And I've done this time and time again. It's a normal routine of mine. When the DEF gets slow, I go in there, I buy the container at the store and I put it in there, and I go and proceed to get gas. But this day, I was on a business call and I wanted to do this before I went to the gas station. And so I'm on this business call. I put the person on speaker. They don't have my full attention. Neither does what I'm doing has my full attention. And I proceeded to open up the DEF container, and then I proceeded to put it into the tank, or so I thought it was the correct compartment. Have you ever done something and you realize that like what you're doing might not be correct or right, but you keep doing it anyway? This is that feeling that I had that day. I began to unscrew the canister and I proceeded to pour it into the tank, and my brain began the process of something's not calculating, something's not right. To my surprise, I saw the DEF fluid starting to leak from the bottom of my truck. And I stopped, it caught me, I stopped, and I realized what I was doing. I had put DEF into the gas tank compartment of my truck. Oh my goodness. See, I don't know if you know the severity of that, but that type of liquid is a water solvent, I guess I found out later on. And that part shouldn't go inside of the gas tank. That was one of the most costly decisions that I've ever made in my life. I thought, was just a little bit of death in my car actually caused a catastrophe of a bill that I had to pay. Now you say, well, Coach Felix, what does that have to do with anything? See, some of us, we have some very costly decisions that are happening in our life because we haven't decided to focus on one thing. We haven't focused on one thing within our business, one thing within our marriage, our families, on our job. And I know we live in a society where we pride ourselves on being multitaskers, but are we really multitasking? Are we really doing what we need to do? See, I believe that there's power in focusing on one thing, the one thing that's important. So for our first shift for today, I want us to focus our mindset from many to one. A lot of businesses have focused on being good at a few things. One of my favorite restaurants is In-N-Out. If you're not in California, where there's one it's a cult-like following. And In-N-Out specializes in a very simplistic menu. They have a hamburger, they have a cheeseburger, and then they have what we call a double-double, which is 2 patties and it's delicious grilled onion. Okay, we're not going to go there. But they specialize in this. And you know one thing? I don't ever feel overwhelmed when I go to In-N-Out. I know what I'm going to get and how I'm going to get it because it's not complex. It's very simple. I go up there and it's a very expedited process. I'm always amazed. Me and my wife had this conversation the other day. I'm always amazed about how long, no matter how long the drive-through line is, we seem to go through at a rapid pace. Even though it could be wrapped around the corner, which many of them are, they seem to keep the line moving. And I believe because they eliminate the indecisiveness of people when they come to a menu and they feel overwhelmed and they feel overstimulated. You ever find yourself maybe at a restaurant that has a variety of items? I'm not going to name any. You probably can already name a few. And yes, maybe you like the place, but you just never know what to get when you go there. And what happened was because you don't know what to get, you keep telling the waiter, oh, come back. We're almost done. Oh, yeah, we're almost done. Give us a few more minutes. And even so much where they say, go ahead and take their orders first. And by the time they come around to you, you're just finally like, just go ahead and give me this thing. That's how many of us are in our life. We know the thing that we want to do, but yet we find ourselves doing so many other things instead of the one thing that we know we need to do. So we want to write the book, but yet we're maybe trying to launch the podcast and we're trying to do work on our social media and we're trying to connect with people. We're doing all these things that not that those things are bad. It's just that they're not leading you closer to accomplishing the goal that you desire to accomplish. Or maybe it is you want to start a podcast, but yet you're trying to write the book and you're trying to do the blog and yes, all of those things are good, but are they leading you to the one thing? Listen to me, the one thing that you know you need to do. That's what I want us to do. I want us to shift our mindset because listen, I'm not just about, as you hear me say, inspiration and motivation. Oftentimes people will say, Coach Felix, you're just so motivational. But I believe we have to go from a place of being motivated to being focused, from being motivated to being disciplined, from being motivated to being consistent, because those are the things that are going to help us to accomplish the things that we desire to accomplish. So now it's time for our application part. I know you want to do a lot of things and you got a lot of ideas and you got a lot of goals. But what's the one thing that you can do? So some of us might have a goal of I want to lose weight, but that goal requires your full direct attention. Have you ever been overwhelmed and you say, all right, I'm going to lose the weight. So what happens is you go to Costco, you buy the $800 worth of groceries because you're going to meal prep and you're going to get it right. And then you make sure you're going to do the gym membership and you go all in the gym for a couple weeks. And then you say, you know what, I'm going to walk at night and I'm going to make sure I get my steps in. And yes, we go good for a couple of weeks, but what happens is little by little, we start to slip back up. Little by little, we start to go back to being comfortable. So what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the one thing. If it's going to the gym consistently, that's what I want you to do for 30 days. I want you to show up every single day consistently at that gym, and I want you to focus on that one thing. If it's changing what you're eating, then I want you to meal prep and I want you to plan. Does that mean I go to gym? No. That means that you find time to go to gym. But this is the thing that I want you to focus on. Try focusing on the one and watch what you can accomplish in the amount of time that you can actually accomplish it in. But I realize this. I realize that it's not just the focusing on the one. It's that we have to move from this place of being motivated to being disciplined. That's right. We have to go from being just motivated, I'm ready to go, but I got to be disciplined. I have to be consistent. See, if you ever find your place where I just need to be inspired, I need to feel ready, I need to be in the mood, guess what? You will never, ever accomplish your goals and your dream. You know, when I wake up in the morning and I go to the gym, I don't always feel like going to the gym. That snooze alarm is very, if it's loud, right? The snooze alarm is oftentimes louder than the actual alarm itself. Because as soon as I hear it, I'm just like, hit the snooze, or I'll go to the gym later, which we know later equates to not going at all that day. And I can tell you this, some days I don't want to go to the gym. Some days I just want to say, I need to rest. You're right, some of us, we do need to rest. But you know what happens when I make that commitment to do the hard things, to do the things that I don't always want to do? I go to the gym and I show up, and sometimes those are the best days at the gym that I have. It's because I believe you have to go from a place of constantly always being motivated, this motivation junkie that you feel like you always need a message or a word or inspiration to get things going. If you find yourself in that space, it's going to be hard for you to accomplish the things that you desire to accomplish. Because guess what? Motivation, it only runs so much. I've worked with a lot of teams, a lot of sports teams, and they will bring me out and they'll say, Coach Felix, can you give us a motivational word before our game? And I will go out there and I'll do my thing. And I'll come out there and be like, listen, we got to go out there on the battlefield. We got to go out there and we got to leave it all out there on the field. Don't leave nothing in the tank. Don't leave nothing in reserves. We got one mission tonight, and it's to leave it all out there on the field. The enemy is out there waiting. Listen, I'll do the whole thing and people will be like, whoa, let's go. It's in my DNA. I love it. But oftentimes I will see those same teams, they'll come out in the first and the second quarter, they'll be pumped up and ready to go, but there is a completely different team after halftime. Because that motivation only lasts them so much. Motivation's only lasting you so much. It's gotten you to write half of the book, but I'm telling you this, in order to write the second half of the book, you're gonna need discipline. Motivation is gotten you to lose 10 pounds, but in order to lose another 10 pounds, guess what it's going to require? It's going to require you to be disciplined. We must go from a place where we're just wanting to be motivated to where we have to crave discipline. Discipline is something that we don't like from the time that we're kids. No one wants to be disciplined, but the correct discipline helps us to grow, help us to learn from our mistakes. And if you can train yourself to do the hard things when you don't want to do them, when you can, let's just say, you know what, maybe you are, maybe you're looking to purchase a house. Say, you know what, I want to purchase a house, and you're motivated. Maybe you say, man, I listened to Coach Felix, and Coach Felix says, you know what, I can get a house. The dream can become a reality. But you know where discipline steps in? Discipline steps in where now you're going to have to work a budget and write your budget out. And you know what discipline says? That I can't just have everything that my eyes see. Listen, I want you to have good stuff, but maybe it requires you maybe not buying that pair of shoes that you like. Maybe discipline requires more meals being cooked at home instead of going out to eat, spending the money. See, when we go from being motivated to being disciplined, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish in the time you can actually accomplish it in. So number one, we have to go from many to one. Instead of trying to do everything, we have to focus on what's the one thing that we can focus on for 5 days? What's the one thing we can focus on for 7 days? What's the one thing we can focus on for 10 days? And go all in on that one thing. I recently just even posted this on social media. I asked the question, I said, what would you accomplish if you went all in on one? I didn't even say one thing. I said, if you went all in for the next 30 days. Individual responds to me, and they share with me everything that they can accomplish if they went all in on one day. And I said, awesome, but what's the one thing you're going to focus on first? And they said everything was important. And when everything seems important, oftentimes nothing gets done. When everything seems like an emergency, nothing becomes an emergency because we're being constantly pulled in every which direction. You start one thing, you stop it. You start another thing, you stop it. And what I envision is you have all these projects in your life, in your business, in your home that have been start and stop time and time again. And this is the sad part. Oftentimes we might see someone that's doing the thing that you know you wanted to do, and you see them doing it, and you view them as less capable than you. You know that the book that you have on the inside of you is better than the book that they have. But you know what they have that you don't have? They have a finished product. You know what they have that you don't have? They probably had discipline in order to do the thing that you said you were going to do. And there are so many people with great dreams, with better ideas, with technology products and softwares that's better than maybe any of us have ever seen. But because we lack the discipline and the focus on the one thing, listen, I'm talking to myself as more than I'm talking to anybody else. Because yes, I love an idea and I can become an idea junkie. But what happens is I'll go from one idea to another idea. Even in this podcast, we've shifted the focus of the podcast because I was trying to do too much instead of just saying, how can I make this a unified vision that puts people in the place where I need them to be at? So a lot of things we have to remove, a lot of things we have to change. So you can't be afraid to change and adjust on the fly, because what happens is when you begin to change and modify and focus your attention and focus that direction on the one thing, how powerful you can be. Many of us, y'all remember these days, especially my young boys watching this, they're men now, but they were young boys then, that magnifying glass. Listen, I'm not condoning animal or insect cruelty, but you remember taking that magnifying glass and it's as big as the sun is. When you focus that beam through that magnifying glass, from the sun to the magnifying glass, on that particular item, maybe it was a piece of paper, maybe it was that ant, you were amazed about how much precise and power that was able to do. And that is the power of focusing on the one. That is the power of being disciplined to do the things that are boring. Because I want to let you know, sometimes boring, it gets results. Are you willing to be bored with doing the thing, with doing the disciplined thing over and over and over again? And then you'll start to see results in your life. My last one that I want to share with you guys, the shift. Remember, we got to go from many to one. We have to go from being motivated to being disciplined. And this is the last one that I want to share with you guys. We have to go from being busy to being intentional. That's right. We have to go from being busy to being intentional. I think I was conditioned at one of my first jobs, and maybe you've heard this before. When the manager comes in, you better look busy. And so we would find ourselves, I was working at a pizza place, we would pick up brooms and we would hide in back rooms and we would do all kinds of stuff because we didn't want to be assigned to do anything, because we were told to look busy, because as long as you look busy, then no one will bother you. I've carried that with me to a point to where I will find myself doing things outside of the one thing that I know I need to do. Maybe this is you. You know, you sit down, you say, you know what? I'm going to write the first page of my book, right? Or I'm going to start the outline of my podcast, or I'm going to put together the budget for the month so we can find out how much money we're spending and where. And you sit yourself down and you start to write. And then all of a sudden something enters in your head. I have to vacuum. Then you go plug up the vacuum and you vacuum. Okay, awesome. All right, took a little break. Let me come back and you go, oh, what time is it? I got to get ready to go pick up the kids from school. So then you go and do that. And this is a cycle that happens over and over and over again. You know, when you shift from being intentional over being busy, some of the things you're going to have to say no to. No, I'm not saying no, you're not going to go pick up the kids. Listen, you got to go. There's responsibility that we have that we must do. But there are some things that we're saying yes to just to give the impression that we are busy and it's not moving us anywhere. There's a difference between running on a treadmill and actually running. Look, you're burning calories on the treadmill. You're doing stuff. You're working out. You might be even working up a sweat. But are you moving anywhere? Absolutely not. And some of us, for years, we have been running on the treadmill of life instead of getting out there on the open road, right? Life is a highway. Okay. Some of us have been so focused on running on the treadmill. And I want to encourage you to step off of the treadmill. And you might say, well, Coach Felix, there's potholes. Coach Felix, there's cars. Coach Felix, it's raining outside. It's cold outside. I don't have the proper shoes, or it's easier for me to be inside. Look, we say all these things. Listen, there are always going to be distractions when you decide to get off of the treadmill of just doing busy and start being intentional. There are going to be some things that you're going to have to say, no, I can't do that right now. There's going to have to even be some opportunity to do good things in order to do the great thing. And I know it's easier said than done, because even me, I feel this need to want to help so many people, but I realize that I can't help everyone. And some people I've had to say no to. Some opportunities I've had to say no to focus on the one thing that I really want to do. Because I am tired of going around year after year saying the things that I want to do, working on the projects that I say I was going to complete, and not actually doing them. So I made a decision to practice what I preach, to focus on the one. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on the one. Be intentional with your time. You know that we are only given a certain amount of time in a day, certain amount of time in a week. There's no difference between the time that I have and you have. But what is the difference is what we do with the time that we have been given. Are you going to be intentional with the time that you have been given? Are you going to be intentional with the time that you're given to write the book? We just think that we have forever to do the assignment that we have. We think that we have forever to go back to school. And we think that there's a perfect time and a perfect opportunity. And we're waiting for Monday. And we're waiting for the beginning of the month. And we're waiting for the start of the year. And a lot of us, we have been waiting. And we've been in the waiting instead of focusing and taking the step and being disciplined and going from being busy to being intentional. I want us to focus for the next 30 days. Again, we can go from inspiration to now where we're going to go to application. Because yes, you can listen and go, I'm going to do it. But now we must apply the teaching. Now we must apply the learning from today. What is the one thing that you're going to focus on for the designated amount of time? Yes, we use 30 as an example, but some of you guys might say, for the next 5 days, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to meal prep for the next 5 days. That's right. For the next 5 days, I'm going to have my meals ready to go, and I'm going to build that habit of doing that thing. And after you build that habit, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the habit of going to the gym 3 days out of the week. And I'm going to stay committed to that for 30 days. I'm going to stay committed to that for 14 days. I'm going to stay committed to that for 21 days, whatever it is going to be. But I'm going to make the commitment to see it all the way through. When I'm tired, when I'm bored, when I don't feel like it, when I feel like it, when I'm motivated, when I'm not motivated, when it's raining outside, when it's sunny outside, when I have things. Some of the things you might have to say, no, I can't do that right now because I made a commitment that I have to go to the gym. No, I can't go out to eat with you right now. Well, come on, Coach Felix. This is family time and we need to do. Sorry, already meal prep. You might have to say no to some work lunches. You know, some of y'all need to say no to work lunches anyway because we don't do nothing but sit around and gossip and complain and do all that. Some of y'all say, no, today I brought my lunch. So I'm not going out to lunch with y'all. I'm not going to grab the double burgers with animal style fries. Okay. You're going to have to say no to some things and be intentional about what it is that you want to accomplish. You have to say, am I serious about accomplishing this, or is the idea actually better than the reality? Well, I can tell you the idea isn't better than the reality, but many of us have settled for the idea and actually, instead of us actually having the reality. I know a lot was said, but let's go ahead and let's bring this thing home for today, and let's recap everything that was discussed. See, if you're feeling stuck right now, it's not because you're not capable, it's because your energy is scattered. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick one thing. That's right, one thing, not 5, not 3, 1. And I want you to give it your focus for the next designated amount of time, right? 30 days, 21 days, 14 days, 5 days. But this is what I want you to do with that time. I want you to protect it. I want you to prioritize it. And I want you to build around it. One more time. I want you to protect it. I want you to prioritize it. And I want you to build around it, because your next level isn't hiding. See, your next level is not ahead of you. Your next level is waiting on your focus. And listen, if you're serious about moving forward, if you're serious about taking that dream that you have and tired of it just being a dream, tired of it just being an idea, if you're tired of starting and stopping, if you want clarity and structure and accountability, whoa, I know we don't like it. Accountability, the A word. I want you to join my community, my time, my moment. This is where we turn ideas into execution. And before you go, I want you to share this with someone who is doing too much and they are getting nowhere. You know you got someone in your family like, you doing too much. You need to slow down. And I want you to drop a comment right now on the one thing you are focusing on. But make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's next, because this isn't just a podcast. This is your time and this is your moment. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's move. I want to thank you for joining me on the Felix Bobo podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked some new ideas and gave you the encouragement to lead and learn without limits. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe and share it with another educational leader or anyone looking to make a difference in the world of learning. Remember, this podcast is just the beginning. You're now part of the family, a community dedicated to creating lasting impact. Until next time, keep leading with heart, keep learning with joy, and let's transform education together. Thank you for listening.